some known truths eventually aren't true. Cash is king. But in China, the king is dead. Long live the king.
And if you're a boss looking for a chauffeured ride that exudes your status in China, it's the Toyota Alphard, right? But the king is dead and the premium EV MPV usurpers are coming for the crown. I'm Will, that is the luxurious Zeekr 009, and this is China Driven. I'm here, look at me, I've arrived. If you want to play in this segment of the market, you have to stand out. The name of the game in the luxury MPV space isn't sleek styling or curvaceous lines, it's in your face opulence. It's the full gold Rolex, the Louis belt buckle. You need to make a statement before you even step out. And when I rock up in the Zeekr 009, it's just like Tupac said.
All eyes on me.
First, we have to talk about this first class cabin, the optimum word being class, because this can only be described as one of the best rear seating experiences I've had. This thing makes the rear of my ET7 feel like a pauper's grave, not because my ET7's rear seating is severely lacking, but just because this is on a whole other level. The Napa leather feels super soft and supple. The micro suede headliner feels soft and padded, and the rear entertainment screen feels responsive as well. Consuming entertainment in the rear here is an absolute delight thanks to that 15.6-inch LCD screen, and paired with the 20-speaker Yamaha sound system with headrest mounted speakers in the first and second row, the sound is pretty good as well. I don't have a figure for the power of the sound system, but I can tell you halfway up the slider volume, it is uncomfortably loud. Because big boss businessman, there's a camera up here in the roof which can be used in conjunction with the screen for video conferencing. There's also screen mirroring, as well as being able to hook up a switch or something via the HDMI port. Interior ambient lighting is a deliberate styling feature rather than just soft underglow. And the windows and panoramic roof allow huge amounts of light to enter into the cabin, making the whole space feel airy. But the star of the show back here has to be these second row seats. They're 70 centimeters wide with 12 centimeter thick padding. Useless information, but basically what it means is plenty of space to get comfortable. Underneath this armrest is where you'll find the multitude of seat functions neatly hidden away. They're 8-way electronically adjustable with extending calf rest, as well as 3-stage heating and ventilation, and a multitude of spa massage functions. There's 3 quick buttons, including resetting the seat, completely lie flat, as well as engaging the voice assistant. It's even got 2 memory seat settings as well. And all of these buttons and knobs are solid metal, save for the memory function and the heat and ventilation. The Zeekr 009 comes with 3-zone AC, and in the rear here you get these massive overhead vents, and they're super powerful. And it's all controlled by what Zeekr calls its smart bar, which includes this 3.4-inch touchscreen for the AC. Next to it, you can control the lock and unlock, as well as the windows on both sides and the panoramic sunroof shade. Opening the door can be done 4 different ways that I've found. On the front central touchscreen, overhead in the front, a couple of buttons on the B-pillar, as well as the door handle. In the front here, like the rear, the materials are fantastic from the hip up, everything that you see and touch. Micro suede and Napa leather on the door cards with metal accents and metal speaker grills, along with a solid metal door handle. It's all really top notch in here, except for this large piece of gloss black trim. It's not the greatest. They did bring over that fantastic gear selector from the Zeekr 001. I really love it. A bit of nailed metal around the sides, topped in leather. And I haven't seen this before, but the wireless charging pad is covered in some kind of felt or suede. The wheel is great as well. It's really good looking and it's nice and compact. Behind it, you'll find a 10.2-inch digital instrument panel, as well as a 15.4-inch central touchscreen. Now, all of the screens in the front and the rear are being powered by a Snapdragon 8155 CPU. Underneath the central console, you'll find a large area to put something like a handbag, and it is rubberized, which is nice. There's also a 5G connection in here, kind of standard these days in premium EVs. One thing I would like to have seen in here would be a nice big heads-up display. They're coming quite common on EVs nowadays, but it's not a deal breaker. The driver's seat gets the whole hog, heat, ventilation and spa massage function, 8-way electronically adjustable with 4-way lumbar support. The passenger seat gets the same except no lumbar support and strangely no massage. Getting into the third row is a breeze. There's a nice large opening. You just press the button and the second row seat moves swiftly out of the way. Back here you have a USB-C connection to charge your phone, as well as a pocket for your phone. There's a cup holder and 2 buttons, one to turn on and off the overhead vent, long press to engage the voice assistant, and the other to swing air backwards and forwards. Now, rear leg room is not that bad for me. At 5'7", I've got just about a fist of room. Headroom obviously is not a problem. But if you pull this little tab down here, then you can actually lie completely flat. It also has a very respectable 376 litres of boot space, surprising since most MPVs have the third row pushed way to the rear. Fold down those rear seats and it's over 2,900 litres of rear space. Bargain isn't exactly the word I would use when describing the Zeekr 009's price tag, but it is surprisingly lower than I expected considering the luxury proposition that it is. This cheaper We edition comes in at $72,500, while the more expensive Me edition comes in at $85,500. Certainly a chunk of cash, but when you consider that a Toyota Alphard here in China costs between $121,000 to $134,000, this thing starts looking like actually good value for money. The only difference that I've found between the We and Me edition is the battery size and thus the range. They have exactly the same tech and features. This cheaper Me edition makes do with a measly 116 kilowatt hour CATL NCM pack with a claimed range of 702 kilometers on the CLTC. And the more expensive We edition has a 140 kilowatt hour Qilin pack from CATL and a claimed 822 kilometer range. Zeekr are now taking orders for those new Qilin equipped models. It's a big deal since the Zeekr 009 is the first EV using this new Qilin battery pack. And although it's an advancement in cell to pack structure, not cell chemistry, CATL claims that compared to a pack of the same size using Tesla's new 4680 cells, the CATL Qilin pack will deliver 13% more power. Impressive. DC fast charging 20 to 80% is said to take 28 minutes. The $1,200 optional chrome grille is a bold choice, but Big Brash grills is something this segment is known for. Don't hate the player, hate the game. This car does without the chrome, but the grille is still a prominent feature. And behind those slits, you'll find 154 LED dot matrix lights ready to mesmerize. Zeekr call it the spring of light. These distinctive daylight running lights with integrated indicators are really different to the usual horizontal streaks we see on other EVs. And just like the Zeekr 001, the main LED headlight cluster is separated lower down the front fascia. Down the bottom here, you'll find active aero, which helps this substantial 2.8 ton beast achieve a drag coefficient of just 0.27. It's actually mind-boggling when you think what a brick this looks like at first glance. Sorcery. No surprises here, the side profile is a massive rectangle in order to carry those 6 occupants in luxury and comfort. With its absurdly long 3,205mm long wheelbase, this 5.2 meter MPV still has some nice styling touches down the side here. The darkened pillars to make the roof float, and some choice chrome accents like up here on the roof, those deliciously styled alloys, as well as the door handles. And these are pretty standard handles. You don't want to be faffing around trying to explain to passengers the puzzle piece handles that plague other EVs. Those delightful 20-inch alloys are wrapped in 265/45 Continental Ultra Contact 6 tyres, but the same design comes standard as a 19-inch alloy with 255/50 Pirelli P0s. Above them you'll find some heavy sculpting over the wheel arches and some patterning on the C-pillar echoing that of the front grille design. An interesting design choice up here, using a piece of glass to hide the A-pillar or A-pillars, but I'm not gonna lie, it does cause some blind spots. Luckily, the 360 panoramic camera system can help negate some of that. The rear is cleaved in half by this massive rear windscreen, and there's a chrome belt line above the LED light bar, which has this thin design carried over from the Zeekr 001. The automatic LED tail lights are pushed right to the side, wrapping around that side. And overall, it's not as in your face as the front end, but it is clean and tidy and shows you the shape and practicality of this EV, aka massive and squarish. The Zeekr 009 comes with 7 8-megapixel cameras, 12 ultrasonic radars and 1 milliwave radar for its mobile eye supervision, ADAS. And all that data is being crunched by dual mobile eye EQ5H chips with 48 TOPS. There's also 4 2-megapixel cameras for the 360-degree camera. As standard, all Zeekr 009s come with a level 2 ADAS function, combining adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist. You can also pay a one-time fee to have access to ZAD, the more advanced ADAS suite coming later for Zeekr models. Undoubtedly, the best seats in the house are the second row. Lay down, stretch out and engage the massage function. Although using this controller to control the rear screen entertainment is a bit early noughties, but then again, there's no way you're actually going to reach the screen from here. Need to catch up on some work? Just get out your solid little metal table, topped in leather, and power isn't a problem as both of these seats have 60-watt fast charging built in. Around town, it's as quiet as a church mouse tiptoeing on carpet in here. But once you do get up to motorway speeds, then wind noise does start to kick up. But nothing that a bit of music wouldn't solve. If you're buying one of these, driving the thing might be a rare occurrence. But if you do have to transport yourself, the horror, it's not the end of the world. I wouldn't advise it, but if you want to do some traffic light drag racing, it's not out of the question. If you find yourself at a lights and some cocky kid pulls up in a 4-banger turbo Mustang, if you so much as hear a psst from his obnoxious blow-off valve, boy's getting wrecked by an MPV. Because this thing is hilariously fast. It has no business being as fast as it is. 400 kilowatts of power and 686 newton meters of torque, the Zeekr 009's dual motor all-wheel drive will pummel the tarmac to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.5 seconds. I have no idea why it needs to be that fast, but it is. It is. Steering is direct, but turning feel, dynamic handling characteristics, boat-like as you'd expect. You don't drive this car, you pilot it, but it is completely effortless to drive, doing and being exactly what it needs to be. Floating along on its air suspension and CDC with enough power to overtake, and then some. Braking distance from 100 kilometers an hour is apparently 36.9 meters, which is not bad. But when you do step on the brakes, you definitely feel the huge mass of this car. But like I've already said, this thing is easy to drive. Except for the fact it's massively wide. You do have to take that into account. The Zeekr 009 makes you get excited over MPVs. Not traditionally a segment full of excitement, but with its ridiculously powerful drivetrain, features and quality materials, as well as fantastic second row seats, it's hard not to enjoy it. Compared to the Toyota Alphard, the vanguard of the luxury MPV space here in China, this seems like good value for money. Whether we'll see these coming to Europe or not, I'm not so sure, but it's definitely a segment to watch in China. If I was important enough or rich enough to warrant a driver, then I would be heavily considering one of these. I'm Will, that is the Zeekr 009, and this was China Driven.